Man, salute everybody, man. This Hollywood Herm. We cooking. There's been talks about what's more important, rim protection or defensive versatility. Don't get me wrong, some of the legendary defenses had elite rim protection, but there was also defenses that had defensive versatility. Like one of the best defenses of all time, the '96 Bulls. They didn't have elite rim protection, but they had elite ball pressure, had elite defensive versatility. They had guys that could switch on everything. They had guys that could guard multiple positions at will. They had guys that just would give immense ball pressure on guys. They had high IQ guys. And the '96 Bulls, one of the best defenses of all time. Literally, that's how a lot of people feel. You got the bad boy Pistons. They were a very versatile defense. Could switch on everything. They had guys like Dennis Rodman. They could guard all five positions. They didn't have the elite rim protector, but they had guys that could rotate. Had guys that could switch on everything. Basically, had guys that put immense ball pressure on on teams, and they just brought a different outlook on basketball of how you look at it. You can look at the '08 Celtics. The '08 Celtics, yes, they had a guy, Kevin Garnett, that could do it all, but there was a hybrid, versatile defense. They could switch on everything. They could guard out there on the perimeter on pick and rolls. Their bigs can hang in there. Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins wasn't a guy that was literally blocking shots at will. But they was a great versatile defense. They could rotate very well, switch on everything. They had elite perimeter defense. They had everything that you need. The 2019 Raptors was a very versatile defense. They had a lot of guys that could guard. Salute King Rowe. Shout out to King Rowe. They had guys that could guard everything, switch high IQ guys. They didn't have the elite rim protection, but they had guys that knew how to get the spots. Was very good in drop coverage, good in pick and roll actions. They had guys like a Pascal Siakam could guard five positions. They had guys like Kawhi Leonard. We know how versatile he is. Kyle Lowry, a very smart defender. So it's it shows you that it's different ways that you can win. You can look at the Golden State Warriors. Deep, they was a deep lineup. Had a lot of guys that can switch on everything. That best defender, Draymond Green, could guard all five positions as well. Yes, they had the Andrew Bogut, but that wasn't the stale point of their defense. The stale point of their defense was immense ball pressure, switching on everything, knowing their assignments, using that high IQ. Because even when they had a guy like Stephen Curry on the floor, they still was one of the top defenses in the league because they was very good at rotating. They was very good at cutting off angles from the ball handlers. They was great in rotating to help if Stephen Curry is getting cooked in certain situations. There was a very versatile defense. You had guys like Iggy that could guard multiple positions. You had guys like Sean Livingston that could guard. Draymond, we know what he does. Niggas just got to understand that. Now, don't get me wrong, you got the old four Pistons. They based on rim protection, they get their defensive player, four-time defensive player of the year, and Ben Wallace. But the old four Pistons, despite them having a rim protector like Ben, they still had great guys that were very versatile defensively. Tayshaun Prince could guard out there on the perimeter when needed. Rasheed Wallace could guard out there on the perimeter. Rip Hamilton was a solid, great defender, was a solid defender. Knew his assignments, knew how the guard could hold his own. Chauncey Billups, a guy that could get in and lock down and put ball pressure on guys. Look at how they did the '04 Lakers. They really kept them because of their ball pressure and their defensive versatility. How they was putting pressure on most of the ball, and the only guy on the Lakers that was able to deal with that pressure was Kobe Bryant. They made the Lakers start their offense literally right before they crossed half court. So it was kind of hard for them to get the ball in the post to Shaq because Gary Payton couldn't handle the ball pressure. Derek Fisher couldn't handle the ball pressure that the '04 Pistons were giving. Um, all the other ball handlers outside of Kobe Bryant couldn't handle it. So therefore, they couldn't even start their offenses on time. So just to end all be all, don't get it twisted. Rim protection is very important. But some of your best defenses of all time really hint on their versatility. The '08 Celtics are very versatile defense. They could do everything defensively. They didn't base it off one thing. The '96 Bulls, we know what they were. They never had elite protection though in Jordan's years of playing. But the thing that they always say, they had guys that could guard. They had guys that could guard multiple positions, switch on everything. Being able to put great ball pressure on the ball handlers on each and every team. That's what made them unstoppable. Of course, you got the Golden State Warriors, same type of defensive versatility. Really didn't have a weakness. Even with their weakness, they still was able to guard at a high level and make it hard for teams to do everything they need to do. So guys just need to understand, bro. Like, I understand that rim protection always been important, but some of your best defenses of all time was based on defensive versatility. So if you look at the top 10 defense, it's half and half. But in all honesty, and I don't even think the Detroit Pistons of '04 is a rim protection type of team. I thought they was very versatile. But because of the Ben Wallace factor, they would say they had elite rim protection. But to me, that was very versatile because Ben Wallace as well was solid in pick and roll situations as well. But that's a conversation for another day. But when you look at your top 10 defense, I think the '04 Pistons one of the best defenses of all time. Uh, After that, I think the '08 Celtics are right there. I think my number three defense of all time, I'm gonna roll with the '96 Bulls. Out of your top three defenses of all time, two of them are a versatile defense. Two of them really don't have the elite rim protection. Even Kevin Garnett, as great as he was, as great as he still was, he was defensive player of the year for crying out loud. But he wasn't a leader in blocks though. I think him being hybrid big. That's what made that defense unstoppable, and you see why the Celtics were one of the best defenses of all time. But they was basically a versatile type of defense. Yeah, he had Kendrick Perkins, but he's not a guy that get a lot of blocks. But he was great in rotation, great in moving, great at getting to spots, and was great in helping. The fourth defense of all time, in my opinion, is the Golden State Warriors. And that just shows they are versatile defense as well. Now, I think the fifth defense of all time is the bad boy Pistons, another versatile defense. So already out of the top five all time defenses, in my opinion, this is my opinion, four of them is a very versatile defense. Didn't even have elite rim protection. That just shows the defensive versatility always been important. Always been important in history. Always been important in basketball history. You can look at the '80s with the Milwaukee Bucks. There was a very versatile defense. Didn't have the elite rim protection, but there was a very versatile defense. They could guard multiple positions. They could put immense ball pressure on guys, and they didn't rely heavily on rim protection. Seattle Supersonics in the '70s, yes, they had Jack Sigma, but their calling card was guys with defensive versatility. Had they guarded multiple, had they was able to rotate, switch, and guard out there on the perimeter. So I mean, defensive versatility always been important in the game, and people just got to understand it. Stop trying to take credit away from the versatile defense and stop trying to act like rim protection always been the calling card on defense. But man, I'm done with that, man. Just getting on a quick take. Y'all hit that like button. If y'all not subscribed, subscribe. Man, I'm gonna cook more. I'm gonna probably do a very controversial topic soon. Um, I think I got to start calling out some bums and telling that how it is. So I'm gonna go at some people next, and I'm gonna cook. But I just wanted to touch on you guys and let guys know that defensive versatility always been important to the game. It always been needed. It always been more important than rim protection. So man, y'all hit that like button. Salute y'all. I'm out.